If you look at real estate, though, by and large, a lot of people in real estate are having their quote-unquote best year ever. And it's interesting how everything has played out. If you look at the Charleston market specifically, my God, we have the inventory is down so ridiculously low that it is creating bottlenecks essentially within our own market. Meaning, because there are so few properties available for sale, people are afraid to put their home on the market that want to sell because they're afraid they're going to sell it so fast they have nowhere to go, which causes even less inventory to hit the market. And so, and that's just one example of some of the things that we're seeing that happens here, at least right now in our market. But what I want to focus on for the next 10 minutes or so is how the tech-enabled agent is really going to rise above the competition and become the new standard for the person that ultimately gets hired to help somebody buy, sell, or invest in real estate. I think the people that remain ambivalent to change and technology that say, hey, why do I have to go and do all of these things when I can just put a property on the MLS and, price it at what the last one sold for, maybe 1% less, 2% less, and get multiple offers and sell it in a few days. Why do I need that? Well, look, at some point in time, I don't know when, and if you look online to try and find the answer, I'm telling you right now, it's impossible because nobody knows. But at some point in time, the music is going to stop, and there are only going to be a certain number of chairs, right? At some point in time, this market is going to lose some steam. I do think that next year is going to be another great year for real estate. I anticipate keeping, for the most part, the same momentum that we have now or have had throughout the year. It might slow down just a little bit. I don't think we're looking at a bubble bursting next year. I think that we might start to see some signs of that starting to happen, but I'm also not going to define what I think a quote-unquote bursted bubble looks like because there's just too much going on for us to guess what's going to happen and the impact that's ultimately going to have. And I think that at least from my perspective, and I think a lot of folks listen to the show because they appreciate the fact that I'm really in tune with the market, not just here locally, but nationally, and then how that impacts your decision-making as somebody that should be buying, selling, and investing in real estate this year or next year. And I'm just here to tell you that there is uncertainty in the grand scheme of things as to what the future holds for real estate long-term. But I think in the short-term meaning 6 to 12 months, I don't think we have anything to worry about, if I'm being perfectly honest. I still anticipate appreciation. I still think inventory is going to be low because we have so many darn people moving here, which frankly is causing some people to move away, if I'm being honest. A lot of people are saying, hey, this is not the Charleston that I have grown and known to love. It's changing. It's changing a little too quickly for me. I'm out of here. Obviously, I'm in the right place at the right time, being a real estate agent with a bunch of people moving to the area. But anyways, what I'm getting back to talking about here is the tech-enabled agent. So if you think about what people have been asking of us as real estate agents for years, especially as it relates to helping people sell their home, because that's really where a lot of the tech comes into play. From a buyer's perspective, I can remember buying my first place. It was like it just became popular when I bought my first condo to be able to look at a real estate agent's website and actually see properties available for sale. And the websites were kind of archaic, and there were just a few that were better than others. Zillow wasn't even around. And obviously things have changed rapidly over the past 10 years. A lot of the tech that large companies use are now available to, the smaller guys, so to speak. The amount of technology that I have on my team, I'd put it up against anybody in Charleston, anybody in the state. Our technology is amazing. I'll give some examples. I'm not obviously going to tell you guys everything that we do from a technology standpoint because a lot of agents listen to this show. But getting back to my point here, the seller experience, people have asked for the longest time, what are you going to do to find buyers for my home? That's a very common question. And what they're asking here is, what sort of proactive steps are you going to take to find a buyer for my house? Not, hey, where does my property go when it's put into the MLS? Because that's a level playing ground for a lot of people. It goes in the MLS. Once it goes into the MLS, it is syndicated to every single real estate agent's website, every single real estate brokerage's website, Zillow, Realtor.com, Homes.com, blah, blah, blah. It's basically all the same. What's been different for several years, at least for my team, is that when it went on Zillow, I had a special deal with them where when that property was listed for sale on Zillow, I was the only agent that you could see. I mean, if you go on Zillow and you look at these listings, I'm going to say 99% of them show multiple agents that you can call. That, you know, the person at the top's the listing agent, everybody else is just some random agent paying for leads in that particular zip code. So you as a consumer, you know, snooping around online and see a property you like, call an agent, there's a 75% chance that agent that you ultimately talk to has no idea what's going on with that property. And good for Zillow for creating something that the public obviously needs. But I'm sure that you've experienced that as a consumer. If you've used Zillow, you talk to an agent that has no idea how to answer your questions because they're seeing the same thing you're seeing. You know, hey, how deep is the pool in the deep end? That's a great question. I have no idea. Let me call the listing agent. Oh, wait, you're not the listing agent? But for us, you know, we've been the only agent on Zillow for years and years and years. Well, Zillow, in their complete idiotic group of bad decisions over the past few years, have now decided that, hey, nobody, even if you were grandfathered in, even if they told the agent that, hey, if you keep paying for this service, you're going to have it in perpetuity because you're grandfathered in, they're getting rid of it at the end of this month. No one's going to be the only agent on their listings anymore in Zillow. And it's my guess that at some point very soon, Zillow is going to be on its way out. They are primed for replacement because they keep pissing people off, namely the agents that fuel their company with our listings, by the way. Having said that, it's the number one used site in you know, the market, and it makes sense to be on there, which is why we spend a stupid amount of money every month to market ourselves and our properties on that website, because it works. But getting back to this tech-enabled agent that I'm talking about, you know, the vast majority of what agents do is very reactive in nature. It's, hey, I'll put a sign in the yard, hope somebody calls. I'll put it online, meaning it goes in the MLS and then it just syndicates to all these websites. It's not like they're manually entering your property into a bunch of websites. It all happens automatically. And then they just hope that they're the one that gets the call, which there's a 1 in 4 chance in many instances. Maybe I'll do an open house. Well, how are you marketing that open house? Is that actually an event that agent knows how to properly market? Or is it, oh, well, my marketing is just all the signs and the balloons that I put out on the weekend, try to catch people driving around? Can you ask yourself the following question and answer it? If I asked 1 million people this question, I wonder what the answer would be. When was the last time you went driving around on a Sunday after going out for lunch and you see an open house sign with a nice balloon on it, you follow the signs to this house and you say, wow, this house really is perfect. I'm going to buy it. That's not what most people do. Pretty fair statement, I think. But if you use the open house and so here's what buyers really don't want. They don't want to be bombarded with phone calls and text messages from real estate agents. People go to open houses more often than not because they're doing recon, they're doing research, they're trying to figure out where they want to be. And so, yeah, as they're driving around, or if they see a home in that particular neighborhood, they say, well, might as well take a look at it. But if you use the open house as a true marketing event, if for all those people that are out there that are ready, willing, and able to buy something that just don't, that have learned that, hey, if I put my information in on this website, I'm about to get 50 phone calls. I don't want that to happen. So they go fishing around for open houses and they say, you know what? I'm going to go see that house on my own time. I don't need some agent hounding me at all hours of the day and night, trying to have a conversation with me about my real estate goals. So here's a nice open house. I'm going to go and see it this weekend. It's a fairly nonchalant, low pressure way to see a home that they might be interested in, but it has to be marketed to them. So how do we do that? How do we use tech to find people that are searching for a home like the one that you want to sell? How do we proactively identify those people? You know, what types of buyers would be interested in your home? Is it a first-time home buyer? Is it an empty nester? Is it somebody that's moving up from their first home that would have a home that they need to sell first? Is it a second home? Is it a military buyer? All these different groups of people have different demographics and online characteristics and behavioral traits. You know, things that are actually trackable that we can use to our advantage to find them and market to them. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about this process. This is something we've been doing for years, and we are way ahead of the curve when it comes to technology and our ability to use that to identify people proactively that want to buy what we have for sale and want to sell to a buyer we're currently working with. So stick around. This is the exciting part, folks. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com. If you want to reach out to me, learn more about my team and all the great things that we do from a technology perspective to help you sell your home while, of course, remaining very focused on the customer experience, give me a call, 843-400-8009, 843-400-8009, or check us out online at listingsincharleston.com.
Hear the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show every Saturday morning at 9 and each Sunday morning at 10 on 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com.